So we talked a bit about foundationalism. We saw that foundationalism does offer a potential solution to regress ad infinitum, because foundationalism sets certain beliefs as core beliefs within your belief system that are thought to not need any further justification by other beliefs. Then the rest of your beliefs are justified from those foundational beliefs. We saw as well that foundationalism has its problems. One problem is just the problem of sextus. If there is no foundation to your foundation, then why is your foundation itself accepted? Another is the difficulty of actually inferring from that core set of beliefs the other beliefs that are required. Oftentimes it seems that a much broader background of beliefs is needed to infer the diverse set of beliefs that I have. Now, as Stosa points out in his discussion, these problems with foundationalism have made many philosophers suggest that perhaps coherence theory is a better theory. Coherence theory is the theory that beliefs are justified because they cohere together and support each other as part of the best system of my beliefs. Belief then, according to Stosa in the coherence theory, is more like a raft. Right? A raft is made up of many parts that cohere together. If you ask someone, what's the foundation of your raft? The answer is that it has no foundation. Any individual part could be removed. The raft would still hold together, and it could still be rebuilt. We saw that with a traditional method, we keep running through these claims. Each claim requires further justification, which itself requires justification, which requires further justification, and so on. But the coherence theorist will say belief shouldn't be seen in the same way. Instead, if you're evaluating some belief, you should look at all the beliefs that relate to that one belief and see how your belief system itself is a set of interrelated beliefs. If you have some belief that isn't related to your others and stands alone, that's a belief that should be rejected. If there's some belief that is intimately tied with everything else that you believe, then this belief is one that is likely to be accepted and kept, even if things on the periphery of your belief system turn out to be false. And this makes it clear why coherence theory can be seen as a theory that defeats hypothesis, because every belief in my system of beliefs as a coherence theorist is supported by other beliefs. If there's a belief that doesn't relate to any of my other beliefs or contradicts them, then that belief shouldn't be accepted within the system, and as a result, all beliefs mutually reinforce each other. And so this is how coherentism is meant to work. The fact is that I have many beliefs about science, about my mind, about religion, psychology, pets, morality, and these beliefs should be working together to mutually support each other. So the positive point as far as building up my belief system is just that my belief system should be built up so that I ensure that all my beliefs mutually support each other. The negative point, as in when should a belief be removed from the system, well, I should throw out those beliefs that are incompatible with my more coherent system. So what might this look like in practice? Well, for the positive point, I could start stating those specific beliefs about what I've learned from science, what I've learned from studying my own personality, what I've learned from religious experience or psychological insight, and I can knit these together into something that makes sense. On the negative side, if I was wondering whether my cat might be actually an alien superbeing, well, I would have to dismiss that view because it doesn't fit into the rest of my rationally consistent system. So coherence theory can be seen as an advance on foundationalism because no beliefs are left unjustified. So let's say I'm evaluating the claim that all human beings have rights. As a foundationalist, I'm going to try to build all of this onto some foundation that cannot be questioned. But as a coherentist, I'm going to look at my system of beliefs as a whole and try to build it into the most consistent system possible. So all human beings have rights. What else within someone's belief system could be used to support this view? Well, here's a philosophical reason I might think that all human beings have rights. Because human beings have reason and consciousness, and that makes human beings special and worthy of respect. This is basically Kant's view. What else might someone call on from their belief system? Well, I might bring science into play. Science has shown the parts of the brain that allow us to, for example, experience pleasure and pain and have complex views of the world. So maybe science reinforces the idea that other people being like me should have the same rights that I think I have. And this comparative physiology can also support the claim that human beings have consciousness because of the unique brain chemistry and brain organization that they have. Maybe I have religious points of view as well, claiming that all human beings are created equal. This might interplay with my philosophical views. It feeds into the idea that human beings have rights. Maybe there's a bit of tension here between my religious and scientific views, so I might need to do some work to figure out how these are compatible or modify them in certain ways. Now, a lot of philosophers do actually think that our emotional attitudes are essential elements of our ethical thinking. Perhaps when I'm in the right mood, in the right disposition, I realize that my attitude toward others, at least when I'm feeling well, is one that wants to give them rights. And maybe this feeds into my philosophical point of view. Maybe I even have a scientific account of where emotions come from. Maybe I even have a scientific account of where the idea of compassion comes from. And so maybe all of these things mutually support each other and feed into this network. And important political beliefs might feed into this and fit within this system as well. The basic physiological equality of all humans might relate to our political equality. The founders of our country did link these political rights back to religious conceptions of who we are. And this should inform our philosophical views. And ideally, our emotions are connected with this idea as well. So in the end here, I should have a system of mutually reinforcing beliefs. Maybe I can't pin the idea of human rights on one specific belief that itself is unquestioned, but working my beliefs together, this might be something that fits well within an organized system of well thought out beliefs. Now let's say I'm having a very bad day and Jim makes me angry, makes me want to take away his rights. Well, does this anger fit with my stable emotional commitments of compassion to others? Probably not. Does my anger with Jim show that he's essentially scientifically, physiologically different than I am? Probably not. Even if he has behaved badly, he probably has reason and consciousness, which means taking away his rights will be in conflict with that as well. And ultimately, this conflicts with the idea that human beings have rights. As a result, because this belief doesn't fit in with my stable, best system of well thought out, mutually justifying beliefs, the idea that I have the right to take away someone else's rights should be rejected from the system. So this should give you a sense of how coherence theory might be used to show how many of our beliefs do mutually justify each other, but some beliefs must be rejected because they're inconsistent with that overall set of beliefs. So you can see why this theory might be considered an advance on foundationalism by some philosophers, because with the web of beliefs, no single belief is left unjustified. But there are also some important objections to coherence theory. One objection is that it's at least possible for there to be two competing theories, two competing sets of belief that are equally consistent, and if so, which one should I choose? Another common objection is the issue that it's possible for my beliefs to all support each other and yet be fundamentally wrong about the nature of the real world. You could think about, for example, a conspiracy theorist might a conspiracy theorist have a bunch of ideas, all of which were totally at odds with reality, but which mutually reinforced each other? Aliens are controlling our government. My pet speaks to me telepathically. I've actually been sent to Earth to save humans from the ant people. You can imagine a whole series of interrelated beliefs that mutually support each other, even though they have no contact with reality. A coherence theorist is likely to try and defend this view by saying that if that person with an unfounded or delusional belief system thought about it long enough, they'd realize that there are core beliefs that are at odds with their delusional beliefs, and that for this reason, a consistent coherence theorist would still have to get rid of those delusional beliefs. But either way, because this system of belief is just about my beliefs reinforcing each other in the best possible system, there is no way to get beyond my beliefs and experiences to ultimately ground the truth. So you can see how this argument would go back and forth. So hopefully by the end of this lecture, you at least have some idea about how coherence theory is designed to solve some of the problems that exist in foundationalism, how that theory works to evaluate specific beliefs to see if they should be accepted or rejected, and also some of the problems that coherence theory brings itself.